to Nurse on the Go video with our research series. Today we're going to have a look at a piece of research that was presented in the International Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry. This was published in 2009, and it was a group of 7 researchers who got together to take a look at 1,299 Irish who lived in the community who were over 65 years of age. They wanted to know what the impact of loneliness and social isolation had on the quality of their life. For example, they wanted to know that if the elderly had close network, did that automatically mean that they were happy with their life and that they had well-being? Or if they had few close relationships and were socially isolated, did this automatically mean that they were lonely and that they felt hopelessness and that did they feel depressed? This is a piece of research that doesn't offer any solutions, but it does offer an insight into where people are at when they're living in the community when they're over 65 years of age. It gives us an opportunity to have a better understanding and a snapshot of the driving influences behind loneliness. We'll get to solutions in future episodes of Nurse on the Go video with our research series, but right now this is a where are we at piece. So the researchers took a look at what other authors had found on this particular topic. One particular article they found said this:
Humans are social beings. Our need to belong is a fundamental one, driving thoughts, emotions, and interpersonal behaviour. Older adults are no exception.
There was a body of evidence in the literature that indicated that there was a health-promoting benefit of those that were very socially connected and that had good social relationships and weren't experiencing loneliness. Conversely, that body of knowledge indicated that social isolation was associated with an increased mortality. And recently, Nurse on the Go video in our research series had a look at a group of 4,000 Dutch participants where mortality was increased by 30% in men. So we found that in our own literature review. So the authors went on to define loneliness as this:
sensing a discrepancy between the desired amount of companionship or emotional support and that which is available in a person's environment.
This is what they did. They used a validated measurement tool and used a questionnaire and semi-structured interviews with this group of 1,299 subjects. They measured their loneliness, their social networks, their depressed mood, their hopelessness, and their well-being or their satisfaction with their life. They graded loneliness into mild, moderate and severe, but for this study they called it simple loneliness, intrusive loneliness and painful loneliness. This is what they found. 1/3 of this group experienced loneliness. 6% of the participants had intrusive loneliness or moderate loneliness, and almost 10% experienced severe loneliness. That's a staggeringly high and worryingly high statistic. That 1 in 10 in our community are experiencing severe, painful loneliness. This makes the question that we'll cover in the future episodes of where are we at and what can we do so much more important if it is indeed this prevalent to be this severe. Loneliness was found to be higher in particular groups: women, the widowed, and those with a physical disability. The researchers found a correlation between being lonely and less satisfied with your life. But interestingly, and probably more surprisingly than that statistic, is that they found that depression, clinical depression, but depression rarely existed without loneliness and social isolation. So those that were socially isolated and that were lonely were those that were also experiencing depression. For those with severe loneliness, there was also hopelessness. This particular group seemed to have a tendency to just give up. A word about the research. This is a large sample group, so that's excellent because it means that we can take more meaning for it in the more that there are in the sample group. They looked at levels of loneliness, which is really critical. This is a Western society that they took, an Irish group, and so the ability to take that and apply it to other cultures could be arguable. Also, the researchers don't give us any where to from here or any actual real-life application for their findings, so they leave that to us to do. For me, these results are important because they identify risk factors. Why are risk factors so important? We health professionals spend a lot of time in the community talking about risk factors for disease. And we do that so that we can raise awareness and give people the opportunity to be aware and change their lives. For example, if you're a smoker, you live a sedentary lifestyle, and you're overweight, you're at an increased chance of developing heart disease. For loneliness, if you are widowed, if you're a woman, or if you have a physical disability, then you're at an increased chance of experiencing loneliness. Now, you can quit smoking, but it's a hard fix to change the fact that you're a woman. But sometimes just the awareness that you are at an increased risk of experiencing it is enough to motivate you to do something about it. And why is it important? The socially isolated and the lonely experience depression, and those who experience severe loneliness experience hopelessness. Next, we'll look at some strategies. So thanks for listening to this Nurse on the Go research series, and we'll see you next time.